Chapter 6, Section 3, I'm going to cover the part where it introduces abstraction to the piano. And abstraction is a concept or idea that's not associated with any specific instance. In the case of this piano, we're going to create a general key class that will act the same with each key when I define a new key. So they are going to share common characteristics and actions that will be performed whenever we create a new key. And that's basically what this screen is going to tell us. We're going to use abstraction. We're going to turn the key class into a class that creates objects with different notes, and it can play a range of notes with different keyboard characters. So instead of just playing a middle A when the G key is pressed, we're going to make it more generic. We're going to make it more abstract. So we'll play a range of notes when different keys are pressed. So if we go back and take a look at our code, and at the beginning of Greenfoot here, I'm working with the new version, and so I'm going to have to manipulate this a little bit. And so I'm going to open the editor, and this is what our class looks like. And if we take a look at our textbook, if I pull up that screen side by side here, just a moment, it tells us that in order to use abstraction, what we need to do is replace this specific instance of G and a specific instance of 3A.wave. We want to make them more generic. So we want to fill in something here in order to make it play when I press the F key, something, when I press the G key or the H key, whatever key I press, I want to make it create a different sound when I press a different key. So I can't use the specific instance in here. And in order to do that, I need to create some instance fields. And our instance fields that our textbook recommends are that we're going to have a key for an instance field, and we're going to have a sound. Both of those are string data type because the names of the strings and the keys are stored as strings, and so they're string data types. And then we're going to create and we're going to change. This was a default constructor, so it did look like this. Public key, default constructor, nothing in there. We are going to add two parameters. Those parameters are your key name and your sound file. Then we have to make sure that we're going to add or assign the instance field key, the word coming in or key name that's coming in, and we're going to assign the sound file, sound, our key instance field, and we're going to assign it the sound file coming in. So we're going to have two strings coming in. They're going to assign the key name to key, sound file to sound. So every time I make a new key, it's going to have its own little name. Likewise, what I have to do down here, instead of creating or using the G, because that will cause an error, I need to use the keyword instance field key, and I'm going to use key instead of the letter G. And likewise, I already made the change down here. Instead of the specific 3B or 3A.wav, we're going to replace that with sound. So I have made the following changes. Instead of my specific instance, I'm now assigning it the value that's coming in by using the instance fields key and sound. When I go to test this out, it's a good idea to hit reset. I ran into some problems a minute ago when I did not reset. It's a good idea to reset if you're using the new version of Greenfoot. I'm going to play, for the letter F, I'm going to play the sound 3B dot, oops. For the letter F, I'm going to play 3B.wav. And then I'm going to create a new key, and I'll go ahead and use our G key, and that's going to be G. And we had the sound 3A with that one. So 3A.wav. This is still tedious, but it's going to get us to where we're playing the sounds. If I press the G key, if I click run, I get that. If I press the F key, I get an F sound. So I have two different sounds when I press the two different keys. So again, if I go back and I take a look at the code, what I did was I just changed key and I changed this to sound. We set up instance fields and we used a parameterized constructor here. The is down key is generally false, so I would also recommend that we set the instance field here to false so that the key doesn't start down. I'm assuming that key is always starting up, is what I'm assuming. Alright, that kind of wraps up the beginning of introduction, and it actually covers exercises 3.9, 6.9, and 6.10 in your textbook.